42% of business startups fail because there is no need for their idea in the market. Does that shock you? Does it surprise you? Today, we're going to make sure that your business idea isn't one of those failing startup business ideas. What if I told you that most business ideas are just mediocre? They're average. They're really nothing special, not because they're bad, but because they haven't been validated. They haven't been researched. They haven't been checked ahead of time. And I don't want that to happen to you. So here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to a Mindset Medicine podcast. I am your host, Catherine Lucadu, and I love, and I mean love talking about business ideas, the mindset behind creating a business, running a business, the challenges behind a business. Do you feel as revved up as I do when you're talking about business? I think what it is that draws me to love discussing businesses and their transformation and the possibility is because I see every business as a baby, as my child. And so to raise a child that is successful, that is happy, that, goes on to make an impact in the world, that's how I see a business, right? How can we impact people? How can we make a difference while also running a profitable business? Because that's really what this is about. Having the big idea, creating an impact, and making a profit. I mean, it's this beautiful triage of goodness. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, how do we turn our big idea into a business? I have done this multiple times. Between my husband and I, we have done this tens of times. Are they always successful? We have not had something fail yet. We have been successful in each one, but there was a process. There was a recipe to how we do this. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So first, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how I have validated the various businesses that I've opened over the years. So I am going to go back and I'm going to talk about the children's play area. And the reason I'm going to start there is because I had so many challenges against me when I was going to open that. I'm living in a foreign country, right? I'm living in Europe on a small island, a small Mediterranean island. The language is not my first language. So imagine that you're opening a business that doesn't really exist in a country where you don't really speak the language. They have different ways of doing business and different permitting and different rules and regulations. Not to mention, you're a Mediterranean island. So anything you choose to do, you are going to be importing goods at double the amount or the value because of import taxes, because of shipping, and so on. Before you enter a business and you start spending all of that money, it is highly important that you've got a big idea that will actually turn into a profitable business, right? So how do we do that? Here's what I did. When I was doing my research, I didn't have to look far because one of the keys to creating an idea that will work is about the problem that you're solving. So I had to ask myself, what problem am I solving on this Mediterranean island for children that I would create a children's indoor play area that, an entertainment center basically that hosted parties, that hosted schools and excursions, and was just a place for kids to go indoors that was climate controlled. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, why that's important. Let me tell you what worked. I knew that I was solving a problem. The problem was that because of the heat, during probably 6 months of the year or more, it was very dry outside. The parks were not green and grassy and beautiful. They were very dry and dusty. The equipment for the majority was very old, very, very old. And they just weren't fun. Like you'd bring your kid there and I mean, there's a seesaw and there were some swings and that was pretty much it. There were some other areas, but maybe you would have to pay a small entrance to get in. And again, I just didn't find them fun. Fun. What happened to fun for kids? So I thought to myself, it was the time when I remember playing in those ball pits, right? When you go to IKEA and they had the ball pits and the little tyke cars and bicycles and motorbikes. And it was the time when video games were just entering the market, like on a bigger level, like PlayStation and so on. We had Game Boys, but when PlayStation started coming in, it wasn't very well known over there because of the import duties and taxes. It would cost people a lot of money to bring in a PlayStation. So I took all these ideas and I said to myself, and if you know me by now, I love one particular word, and that word is what if. What if I could create the solution to a problem? What if I could provide a really large climate-controlled area for kids to come in that was safe? They could not only have a party, but they would have this experience that they haven't had before, right? With the 25-foot slide, inflatable slide, which didn't exist, with the ball pit that didn't exist, with the little tyke toys and cars that didn't exist. What if I could do that? What if I created these PlayStation, a PlayStation area for the older kids to play in that was separated from the chaos of where all the little kids were? What if I offered snacks and food that was different, right? That was North American. I believed that I had a big idea that solved many problems, not just one. And I knew exactly who my ideal audience was, right? Not only is it the kids, but it's the parents who have to buy in. And then how do you market it? So that's where I began. So when you're thinking about starting a business, right? You've got this idea. Oh my God, wouldn't this be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing to open a pizza restaurant? But if you look around the town or the city that you're in, how many other pizza restaurants are there? What problem are you solving? Whose problem are you solving? If the answer to these questions isn't substantial enough that you can list so many different criteria of the solution that you're answering to this problem, you may have an issue. So here is why validation matters. And I'm going to give you 4 reasons that make a business idea a good one for turning into a business. And we're going to talk about why it's important to validate that idea before you move into action. So let's go back to the way that I started the podcast today. 42% of startup businesses fail because they fall into the trap of thinking that they have a good idea. They love the idea. Maybe their friends and family in their immediate circle love the idea, and they tell them, oh my gosh, that would be great. But is that your actual target audience of your idea? Are they going to be the majority of the buyers of this product, of the idea that you're creating? So what's the difference between a mediocre idea and a good idea, a great idea? What's the difference? Most ideas are not inherently bad, but they're not properly thought through. If you were to do a SWOT analysis, SWOT, and if you have a paper or if you are taking notes while we're doing this little session today, let's talk about what a SWOT analysis is. S stands for strengths. W stands for weaknesses. O stands for opportunities. And T stands for threats. So when thinking about your idea, let's go through what that looks like. What are the strengths of your idea? So I'm going to just go back to what we were talking about, which was the Children's Indoor Play Center. So for me, the strengths were that it doesn't exist already. Okay, so that's a great plus. Is it always a great plus that the business doesn't already exist? Not necessarily. And I actually have business number 3 or 4 that I will talk to you about when I say that even if it's a good idea, even if it solves a problem, you may not have the audience for it yet. The strength is that I knew that I had a very large target audience. Children. I mean, it's huge, right? Children have parties, also huge. And those parties are catered, another plus for parents. It was a safe environment, another plus. It was climate controlled in a country that can go up to 45 degrees Celsius in the summertime, also a plus. So there were a lot of strengths behind the idea. And then I'm not even going to go into the business strategy part yet, but idea-wise, I was filling in all the boxes. The weaknesses, right? Weaknesses are what I was talking about. So how easy is it to bring in the product that would help this entertainment center thrive, meaning the 25-foot slide, the balls, the ball pit, all of these things. There was going to be a cost, a high cost associated. So that may be a weakness to the idea if I don't have enough money to support it, right? How easy is it for me to bring in those products? Again, how challenging, and would that affect my timelines? Weaknesses in my target audience? Well, price point, I always have to think about that. So when we're talking about your target audience, of that target audience, let's say young children, medium-aged children, maybe up to the age of 12, 13 because of the video games that I had, of that demographic, who can afford to have their parties there? Who can afford to come and visit in off hours? You know, it's all of these we take into the opportunity. Is there an opportunity for this big idea for you? What is the opportunity? Who is the opportunity for? And when we look at opportunity, you need to look at it from many, many different lenses. So is there a financial opportunity? Is there a societal opportunity? Will you somehow impress people in the community that way? Is there an opportunity for growth down the road, right? Does your idea only work now because it's a trend? Or is it a solution that would be ongoing? Do you see the solution that you are trying to fix or trying to answer ending because of a change in the way people do things? Let me give you an example. Blockbuster. So here we have Blockbuster with videotapes. And then when we started moving into DVD, Blockbuster then started using DVDs for their rentals and so on. After that, there was no more growth in that sector. So that's what I'm talking about. How much growth and scale do you have? Is that your opportunity? And then, of course, you have your threats. And as I just mentioned with Blockbuster, a threat could be technology. A threat could be trends. Will this somehow lose its uniqueness? Will it become very commonplace? How far down the road do you think that would be? And would you be able to come up with alternative solutions when that happened? You know, something really important when we're talking about a SWOT analysis and we're talking about threats is how adaptable are you? Think about your character. And I think it's really important. And this is where the mindset behind a business comes in. How adaptable are you to a threat to your business? whether it's AI, whether it's a change in trend, whether it's a change in the way people are acting in society. Maybe they're changing their ways. So this is my question to you is you really need to look through the lens of this quadrant, of a SWOT quadrant. And usually we draw it in a square divided into 4 boxes, SWOT. And you look at it through that lens, both outside your business and inside your business, because it's important that the mindset inside your business supports changes, threats, challenges, and the rewards. But it's important that you also recognize that there are exterior factors that may affect your business. Inflation, economic measures, changing in permitting, all of these things you need to keep in mind, okay? So let's go on to part 2. So what actually makes a good idea? Number 1, is it a high value product? A good business solves a problem or fills a gap in the market. Does your product or business idea, online or offline, it doesn't matter. The same equation works for both. Does it solve a problem? And does it solve a high value problem? So what does that mean? The more value your problem solves, your product solves, the easier there is an exchange of money. So a person will be willing to pay for your product or your business idea, provided they see value in it. And the more value they see in it, the more they will be willing to pay. This is economics. This is how this works. Does your idea have to be revolutionary? This is a question I get sometimes from people when they're thinking about opening a business, and they're trying to think of like this life-changing, life-altering business idea, when really what we need to be thinking is, where does a problem exist right now? And could I have a better solution for it? One of the best stories that I read was about a company who has gone on to do hundreds of millions of dollars. And do you know what they make? Think of a shoelace, okay? There are shoelaces in, I don't know how many percentage of pairs of shoes, but if I were to say 60% of shoes out there, you know the little plastic thing at the end of a shoelace? That is what they make. That's it. That little thing at the end of your shoelace was an invention of this family company. And they just decided one day when the laces were constantly coming out of shoes, they thought, well, this is annoying. How do I fix this? Well, what if we were to put this hard piece of, and then whether you call it metal or plastic or whatever it is for the type of shoe, maybe it's a bead, but the idea that there should be something at the end of a shoelace, that was their big idea. And look at every pair of shoes now that has laces. The majority of them will likely have that on it. Is it a mind-blowing idea? I mean, it's not mind-blowing, but is it highly valuable? Yes. Think about a popsicle stick. Is it a mind-blowing idea or a toothpick? No, but highly valuable. So when thinking about your big idea, it doesn't have to be revolutionary like Tesla or Netflix. It just needs to fulfill a high value for a percentage of the population. Who would be your target audience? Sometimes that target audience may be broader depending on your big idea. And sometimes it's a very niche market, and you will highly appealed to that niche market. Here is, and I'm always going to be very open and transparent with you. So I have created a 24/7 coach called Catherine AI. And I have taught my clone coach everything I've ever taught about everything, about mindset, about industries, about business, sales, marketing, video marketing, social media marketing. I have provided all of that information into Catherine AI. It is a phenomenal innovation, and she can talk to you. Like, you can call her up on the phone and she will talk to you and brainstorm with you and brainstorm social media ideas and so on. She will remember everything that you tell her once you are basically once you are connected with her. She will also provide you written text and so on. So the way that I saw this was as a standalone coach for someone who may not be able to afford a business coach, because I know when I was opening my business, my first big business in Cyprus, the Children's Entertainment Center, God, what I would have done to have a coach on speed dial, right? Like 24/7, me lying there in the middle of the night thinking, okay, what do I do about this? How do I market in a country I don't speak the language? What are the options that I have in this year that I'm opening this business? What are the threats that I haven't thought about? Like, imagine if I had had all of that input at that time. I could have maybe 10x'd what I did and the business that I did. But here's where I thought about these ideas and how important it was for me that I wished I had had this help back then. And I said to myself, I'm going to create that very thing that small business owners and entrepreneurs are missing. And it's to have a coach 24/7 for themselves for $49 a month. Like, wow. What I didn't realize is that one of the threats in that SWAT analysis would be mindset of people and AI. Because I love business and technology and AI, I didn't think that this would hold someone back from wanting to really capitalize it for themselves in their business and have that extra help for them all the time. It never crossed my mind that just, I don't know, that this idea would be too foreign, or maybe I'm too early to market. Imagine that being something. If you are too early to market because people don't entirely understand what it is. So I now use Catherine AI for my current coaching clients. So in between our calls together and in between our group coaching calls together, they will have me 24/7 helping to answer their questions until we get back on a call again. So the purpose is still there, but my original big idea of having it stand alone, I think I may have just been too early to market. That's part two, is thinking about whether you have that good idea and then what makes the good business idea. So let's go to part three. Questions to ask yourself before moving forward. So you've got the big idea. You want to turn it into a business. The people around you are saying, yes, oh my gosh, what a great idea. All right. So let's go through those questions again. And you might want to write this down or make a note on your phone. What problem am I solving? How is my big idea solving it? How much effort is required to solve it? So is it going to be complicated? Is it easy? Is it relatable? Is it something that's going to improve efficiency or people's lives? Who are you solving the problem for? Who is that exact target audience? And are there different factors as a part of that audience? As I mentioned about my Children's Entertainment Center and Catherine AI, I had to go through each of these questions before I started putting in the effort, the time, and the money to go through this entire process. Building a business is a lot of work. It's most definitely worth it. I have loved every minute of everything I've done. But of all the ideas, and I've probably come up with thousands of them in my lifetime, I have only handpicked a few that fulfilled the necessary criteria that I was able to do the SWOT analysis for. So let's go to number 4, how to validate your idea. So you've got this big idea, okay? You've thought through all of these questions. You've answered your SWOT analysis. Yes, the people around you have thought it's a good idea. However, it's actually really important that you go to your target audience. It's really important. So when I was thinking of the Children's Entertainment Center, my best opportunity to talk to my target audience was through my children's schools. I would talk to parents. I would talk to teachers. I mean, I can ask a 6-year-old, oh, would you love to climb up a 25-foot slide and play in? Obviously, their answer is going to be yes. So I knew that I had something appealing to young children because I'd seen it tried and tested in North America. What I was wondering was how appealing it would be to teachers and parents, because parents would be the ones booking the parties, coming to bring the children on the weekends to play. And teachers would also be the ones who would request that they could go on excursions, right? A class trip and so on. So I needed to find out from the source, being my target audience, will this work? When I was creating Catherine AI just a few months ago, I actually created a beta group. And the beta group were not my friends and family per se in my immediate circle. I went to people in different industries that I respected. I went to someone in the finance industry, mortgage industry, real estate industry, entrepreneurs. And I said, I'd really like you to use this. And I'd like you to use it for a few weeks. And I want you to test it. And I want you to ask Catherine AI questions. Tell me your feedback. What was missing? Was it too slow? Was it too fast? And this is what we did. And I had a beta group of people who were testing Catherine AI. So when I got that feedback and I was able to put it all together, it was great. It was excellent. They thought it was amazing. And they literally said at 3 a.m, I had an idea and I went on and she helped me solve it. And I actually went back to sleep. Whereas normally I'd be just left lying there worrying and thinking, because she can help you solve problems, communication, and so on. I was able to validate my idea, my big idea, with my target audience. I was able to ask for feedback. What do you think of this? Do you see any negatives? Do you see positives? And the beauty of this is because I am asking for neutral feedback, right? Just tell me what you think. Do you have any criticisms? And I think when you're not afraid to hear the answers that people have and you ask them, poke holes. What do you see as wrong with this idea? Is there anything that just doesn't feel right about it? When you give people permission to give you their opinion and support their opinion, because just to say, yeah, it's great, that's not good enough. There needs to be support, right? So that's also good. Creating a prototype. So do you have a concept image of this big idea? I created concept images of the Children's Entertainment Center. I knew exactly in my head what it looked like. I was able to find photos and create concepts. So when I showed people, they could really visualize what I was talking about. When I created Catherine AI, I actually created Catherine AI, and I was able to share the link to her. So they were actually able to hands-on talk to her, text with her, and so on. Here's a really important part to this whole equation of big ideas. You have to be able to pivot. If the big idea is not receiving the feedback that you were hoping for, you need to accept that and say, okay, it's all right because I asked for it. So now I need to either go back and adapt what I've done. Maybe the idea just isn't good enough. Maybe the idea isn't ready for market right now. Maybe the idea doesn't really solve a big enough problem that people would be willing to pay for. All in all, it's really, really important that having big ideas is so good. You know, it keeps us alive and it keeps us energized and interested. And when you have a big idea or you find a big idea, it is really important that you don't lose your energy and enthusiasm around it, but you do your research, do your homework, do the exercises I spoke about, and really decide if your idea can be evaluated and validated critically by people who are unbiased, who are your actual target audience. You have to make sure that you've gone through the points of what makes a good idea and will it turn into a profitable business down the road. If you are sitting on a brilliant business idea right now, and you're thinking about it, and oh my gosh, this would be so great, stop thinking about it. Move into testing it, because you will never be satisfied as to whether or not it's a great idea unless you come up with the concept, do the work, and test it on people before you start spending too much money, time, and effort. If you're looking for more detailed guidance on what to do with your big idea or how to expand it, you've gone through all this. You're like, yes, I've got a great idea, but I literally I don't know what to do next. That is how I can help you. I can help you from the onset of your idea all the way through to creating that business that you have been dying to try, because in your gut, you know it's going to work. You just know it, but you're not sure how to execute on it. If you want to create a profitable, scalable business from your big idea, that is what I help people do. I love calling it your bold move forward, big ideas and bold moves, because you do need to be bold if you're going to start moving forward on an idea. You have to. You've got to have clarity, you've got to have confidence, and you've got to have courage. All three are really, really important. So in the next episode, if you liked this episode and you're like, okay, I'm feeling revved up, I am ready to start either going through the motions and going through all of these exercises that Catherine talked about today, or you're already at the place where you've done this and you are ready to move on to the next level. Next episode, we are going to talk about some of the strategies in how to move this idea now into a profitable business system or strategy network. If you are already running a business and you actually need to transform some parts of it because there are some things that are just not working for you right now, whether the economy has changed, whether people's tastes have changed, maybe the idea or concept behind the business you're running just doesn't work anymore. I have created a course, and I've got the link below that will help you figure out what are the 3 critical mistakes that you are making right now in your business and how to transform your business. And you can do all this in 2 hours. All right. So I do have a link to that. And if you are thinking that, you know what, I really do think I need her coaching, I do think I need her help, there is a link to have a discovery call with me to see if we may be a great fit to work together. Thank you so much. If you like this episode, please subscribe, like it, share it with your friends. Let me know that you actually found this really, really helpful, and thank you. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe so that you can get notified when there are more episodes coming. I will see you next week with your big idea, big, bold moves, because that's what this is about. Bye for now. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Mindset Medicine. Remember, every step you take toward building a resilient mindset and creating harmony in your life will get you closer to your dreams and that transformation that you've been looking for. If today's episode hit home for you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback is our fuel. Spread the love. Share this podcast with friends and family. Tag me on Instagram at Catherine Lukedu Coaching. And if you're looking for more tips and resources, head over to CatherineLukeduCoaching.com. Stay connected, stay inspired, and keep living your very best life with harmony and purpose. And until next time, my friends, live boldly with purpose.